Welcome back. It's simple arithmetic. The more government services taxpayers have to pay for, the less money they have left in their own pockets to pay for what they and their family want. Democrats across the country are pushing to add a new entitlement, childcare for infants and toddlers. It's hard enough to afford your own kids, much less paying for everybody else's. When Zohran Mamdani was sworn in as the new mayor of New York City, he repeated a promise that helped him get elected. Quote, "The cost of childcare will no longer discourage young adults from starting a family because we will deliver universal childcare." And Connecticut next door is moving fast to make childcare the next entitlement. To discuss what this means for the size and cost of government and for taxpayers is our own guest, Connecticut State Senator Rob Sampson. Welcome, Senator Sampson.
Good morning, Betsy.
So good to have you. So, Senator Sampson, Democrats in Congress are also pushing legislation, federal legislation called the Child Care for Working Families Act, which would provide vouchers for child care and cap what a family has to pay at 7% of their income. Your thoughts on this overall national trend to make taking care of your toddlers and infants the government's job?
Right. Well, I think you said it perfectly well right out of the gate. It's simple arithmetic. The fact of the matter is that people across the country are struggling as far as their money in their pocket to be able to afford their bills. Connecticut, my home state, is one of the most unaffordable in the entire country. We have maybe the third highest taxes in the country, the third highest electric bit rates. I mean, it's just piling on all of the time. And it's not the time for the government to come along and create another huge entitlement that is going to come out of taxpayers' pockets. You know, the Democrats they're not stupid. I mean, I hate to put it in those terms, but, they know what they're doing. They want to expand the size and scope of government. This is where they live. And this is just another method for them to have more power and control over the daily lives of the citizens of our great country. And it's very hard to say no to. I mean, we're going to provide free health care. It's always a good thing that people will receive with open arms. But you have to remember, somebody's got to pay those bills. And I've got struggling seniors, back at home that can't afford to pay their medications or, clean out their gutters or get their boiler started for the winter. How are they going to afford the additional taxation that this is going to require? That's the big question I would have.
And it's not just, quote, taxing the rich, as Zohran Mamdani promised. Even looking at the Fiscal Policy Institute proposal in New York, it includes payroll taxes that every working person has to pay. So whether you have children or not, you're going to be paying for the kids next door. Governor Ned Lamont, Connecticut's governor, styles himself a moderate, but his aggressive sponsorship of childcare really puts him in the same camp with Mamdani. So are Republicans in Connecticut speaking out against this idea, this very strong leftward lurch to make caring for your toddler and your infants the government's job?
Yeah, no, I wish that there was a more vocal opposition to policies like that. The premise of the idea that Ned Lamont is a moderate is somewhat stupendous to me. That's a product of the Republicans in Connecticut trying to triangulate against the very left-leaning leadership of the Democratic, legislature. Sometimes it's better to work with the governor versus the leaders of the House and Senate Democrats. But at the end of the day, Governor Lamont has been in office for 8 years. He has signed into law a tremendous mountain of terrible policy. I mean, think about, his DEI propositions, tampons in schools, boys' rooms. I mean, massive expansions in spending, almost $1 billion in new taxes, I think, under Ned Lamont. So, I mean, he is no moderate. That is a fallacy of the greatest proportion. And this expansion is huge.
I want to get to the fraud issue here, too. I looked at the program carefully, and it says that if you have a relative, a grandmother who lives down the street and comes to babysit your kids, you can apply to have the state of Connecticut pay for that. How do you prevent fraud. As I pointed out earlier, when New York State tried something like that, care in the home, 655,000 New Yorkers claimed to be home care attendants, making it the biggest occupation in New York's history. It was obviously fraud. So what are you going to do in Connecticut to prevent that kind of fraud?
Right. Well, unless we have a Republican governor next year, I don't know that we're going to do much of anything. The amount of corruption that the Senate Republicans have unveiled in this administration just in the last year is staggering. You know, we had a president of the Connecticut university system, a guy who makes over $400,000 a year, by the way. He got caught, abusing his expense card. And this led to a whole series of other exposés and corruption. We held a press conference a couple of months ago that we unraveled mountains and mountains of earmarks that go to companies that don't even exist, that you can't even track down. This type of fraud is the direct result of massive growth of government. And when you have a party that's been in power for decades and they're extremely overconfident, like the Connecticut Democrats have.
Well, thank you, Senator Sampson. You are a real public servant, a real friend of the taxpayer. Hope you'll come on again soon.
Thank you so much for having me.